Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I definitely didn't have this mic set up to record a music review today. I had a mic near me. Sorry. My name is Alex. Welcome to the Alexo channel, and today I am going to be doing a review of the new Brockhampton album, which is called Ginger. So, Brockhampton, a boy band from California, the best boy band since One Direction. If you are part of this whole music reviewing, music enjoying scene on YouTube, you probably know who Brockhampton is, so I'm not going to waste your time with this intro. All you need to know is that in 2017, they released 3 albums. All 3 of which made my personal top 10 of the year. In 2018, they signed with RCA Records. They had Amir Van, which is one of their key members, getting kicked out for sexual misconduct, and then releasing an album later in the year called Iridescence, which I enjoyed quite a bit and put in my top 25 for the year. So you could probably say that I'm a decent fan of the group. And then after that, the group went mostly quiet, with only Kevin Abstract releasing his pretty good Arizona Baby this year, which really not going to make my top 25 or anything this year, but I did think it was pretty fun overall. And they finally released that "Let's Get Married" thing. That look that up. It's so good. And then listen to the song "Baby Boy." What a good song. And now here we are. We're 2 years down the road, 4 albums later, after I've bought 3 shirts from the band in the past 2 years. So, I mean, look, I am a fan.
I'll admit it.
Here we are with Ginger, their 5th studio album. So Ginger is the shortest album by the group yet. It's 12 tracks long, 44 minutes, which really suggests to me all killer, no filler. It suggests to me that it should be all killer, no filler. See, I didn't really keep up with the singles that Brockhampton was releasing around the time that this album came out because I don't usually do that. I'm more of a person who I like to listen to the album when it comes out unless I'm like that hyped for the album. And I really didn't listen to any of the singles leading up to the Saturation trilogy other than Saturation 1 singles. And I didn't listen to Jouvert when Iridescence came out, so I decided to follow the pattern. And I was completely surprised then when I heard this album. I'm surprised because it really is the weakest album that Brockhampton has released yet. And I know you could probably say that about Iridescence when Iridescence came out, that was their weakest yet. But this weakness from Iridescence was really only in relativity to the fact that their other 3 albums, the Saturation trilogy, was so, phenomenally good that it really didn't matter. Here with Ginger, I'm kind of having a hard time recommending it to people because even though it's not terrible and it's not a bad album, it's not great. It's not a great album. That's not to say that there aren't any highlights on the album, because believe me, there are. For starters, Boy Bye. Oh my goodness. That song would have been a highlight on any of their albums because that sample is so fun. The way that the beat, I guess, builds up from that sample is so fun. And the verses here are on a level that really the rest of the album doesn't even match up. Everyone from Dom to Bareface just delivers great lines all over the place, and the varied subject matter of these verses, ranging from depression to just general braggadocio, works in a way that only Brockhampton can pull off. I also like the opener, No Halo, quite a bit. It showcases the group unsure about their future, stressed about their lives, and just has this general introspective tone that in the past I've loved from the group when they do delve into this type of song topic. But here, a lot really has changed for the group. They've moved out of their group home into their separate houses. They have a #1 album under their belt. And even with that, there really is a lot for them to be still introspective about because it hasn't been the easiest climb to the top. It's just a different way to kick off the album because they've never kicked it off on a low-key note like this. You have Heat from their first album, which was just crazy energy. You have Gummy, which was just crazy energy. You have Boogie, which was just crazy energy. And you have New Orleans, which was, once again, crazy energy. And then you have No Halo, which is not crazy energy, and it's a very low-key little cut. I also like the beat quite a bit, kind of sounding like a 90s boy band beat for the Sad Boy 2010s generation. Also, shout out to Matt Champion for really holding down this Kid Cudi vibe on that first verse. It really kind of shocked me to hear him doing this type of flow. It was really cool, actually. This song does really highlight a problem with this album, though, and that is the fact that it's a highlight on Ginger, but it really would have struggled to be a highlight on any other Brockhampton album because it's just not up to their usual quality level. They've done introspective tracks in the past before, like I mentioned, and they're great at doing introspective tracks. And I understand that this is the band wanting to mature and evolve because really Ginger is their most mature album to date. But something's different on this album. Something's a lot different, and it isn't in a good way. Look, there's still a lot of youthful energy on this record overall, like on Big Boy and St. Percy and If You Pray Right. But for the most part, lots of the energy seems to have been sucked away from the group, and it kind of sounds like Fame really messed these boys up. They sound drained, and unfortunately that kind of is to the detriment of the album. I can't help but think of this shirt that Kevin Abstract designed that basically reads, if you knew how long it would take and how much you'd have to give up, you would never want to become famous. That's kind of paraphrasing it, but in a sentence, I think that would be the greatest descriptor for this album in general. It seems like everyone's presence on the album is muted. Joba, who's usually a personality machine, is not at his best on most of these tracks. Merlin completely phones in this entire record, and he was literally my favorite person in the group. I don't understand the hate for him for the most part, but he's really toned down in a way that doesn't make him stand out in the slightest. And the real problem with that for me is that no one really does step up to the plate to take their energy or to take the quality that they previously had on the other albums. Even Kevin Abstract, who it usually is the lead of the band, I guess, seems to have devoted most of his energy to Arizona Baby and doesn't really show up with anything new, innovative, or I guess that well made here. It just stinks because it seems like lots of the energy was sucked away to showcase a quieter Brockhampton, even though they've done quieter and more restrained Brockhampton in the past and done it much better. Like I said, I do enjoy songs like St. Percy and If You Pray Right for showcasing, I guess, the power and the strengths of the group for the most part. But they're not at their best on these tracks even, and it sounds like a lot of the time they don't even want to be involved. There are two songs that stick out in my mind as really defining what I'm trying to say by this, and those would be Heaven Belongs to You, the slow tie track, and Victor Roberts. Now, the slow tie track, Heaven Belongs to You, only has slow tie on it, and it's 1.5 minutes long. Brockhampton has done early album 1.5 minute long tracks before. They've done it on every single album, but here it feels completely useless for a couple of reasons. The first reason being it's just slow tie, not a member of Brockhampton by himself. And the second reason being this album's only 44 minutes long, and there really isn't space for this 1.5 minute useless interlude that cuts out, I don't know, the energy that Boy Bye would have carried into St. Percy. You could have just had this be an 11-track, 42-minute album, and it would have been a little bit better without this slow tie featured track. Because even if this slow tie track was great, which it's not, it has a boring beat and slow tie's bars aren't great, there really wouldn't be a point of this. I want to hear Brockhampton on a Brockhampton album, not slow tie by himself. It's just, I don't understand why this is here. And then with Victor Roberts, the only member of the group who's there vocally is Bareface, and the rest of the song is dedicated to Victor Roberts. And while I will give this track more credit than Slow Tie's track, because I do think that Victor Roberts, the name of the track and the name of the rapper on it, while I do think that Victor Roberts' verse is a good verse, and I think it's pretty heart-wrenching, I still don't see why it's the closer, and I don't understand why only Bareface is singing on it. And yes, I know that Bareface was the only singer on the last two, or on Saturation 1 and 2, but I thought we kind of did away with that on Saturation 3, and I thought we kind of did away with that on Iridescence. Why is Bareface alone on this one? It doesn't really make sense to me. Anyway, to spit out a couple more positives about this album, I will say that I do enjoy Sugar for the most part, even though it's a little bit too saccharine for my tastes, and unfortunately Bareface kind of ruins this song with his "Do you love me, you love me, you love me?" Nah, not feeling it. I also do like the title track for mostly the same reasons that I like Sugar, and that is the fact that it's just a really nice, genuine sounding alt R&B hip hop song. But I think Ginger just does what Sugar does better because it doesn't have Bareface tacked onto the end of it, kind of kneecapping the song. And it has an overall better hook. In terms of, I guess, a little bit more negative that I could say about it, my absolute least favorite track has to be Big Boy. This is easily Brockhampton's worst song to date, even including the film and cinema interludes. The hook is bad. The auto-tune Travis Scotty verses are bad. It's just not like, what is this song, guys? Why? I don't like it. Also, it's way longer than it needs to be. Like, why is this song 4 minutes long and Boy Bye only 2 minutes long? It makes no sense to me. Anyway, for all the complaining that I've done, it sounds like I must hate this record. And honestly, I don't. I don't hate this record. There are a fair number of highlights on it. It really does have its shining moments, like Boy Bye, like No Halo, like St. Percy, like If You Pray Right. But for every great moment in this style, there's also a mediocre moment in a style that I just don't see them excelling at the moment, just because it seems like they've lost, I guess, what made those melancholy moments on their earlier albums so good. It just seems like for every fun cartoony verse like Joba's on If You Pray Right, you get a slog of a track like Dearly Departed. And for every great barefaced moment like on Boy Bye, you get his just absolutely boring and formulaic lyrics about love, like on Love Me for Life. It's just sad because this album needed to be all killer, no filler with its length and its relatively short track length, but it ended up being some killer, decent filler, and that's disappointing. I do support Brockhampton taking this more mature path, but I do hope that if they do take this path, they go back and look at what made their more mature tracks like San Marcos, Tanya, Milk, Sunny. Like, they need to go back and look at what made those songs so great, and I guess take that in mind for the future of the group if they really do want to go down this sound. Songs like those ones I mentioned are proof that they can do this. It's just not here because the band sounds tired. They sound like they really don't want to do what they're doing very much, and for those reasons, I really can't give this album any more than a mid to high 6 on a good day. And that's going to conclude my review of Brockhampton's Ginger. I would check this album out if you are a fan of Brockhampton, but if you're not, I would definitely go back and check out their Saturation trilogy. And yeah, thank all of you for watching. I hope to see you on the next video. Awful Creepypasta's finale will be continuing probably either this Friday or next Friday. We got 2 or 3 more episodes left to throw at you from that story, and expect the weekly music reviews to come back. So without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you do on YouTube, and I hope to see you in the next video soon. Thank you.